Welcome to the Crypto Community Switzerland. This is a recorded Zoom meetup session.
Okay, wonderful. So thanks for joining our session from the crypto community. Nice to have you here tonight. Today we're going to be talking a bit about an interesting topic, which keeps people busy and also interested. It's the whole metaverse topic and how does blockchain actually fit into it. So I'm going to start sharing the slides. Okay. So yes, we are the Crypto Community Switzerland. We have been around now for a moment. I just summed up what sessions we have delivered this year, what kind of topics we had. I'm just gonna pick a few. I mean, where the interest started really kicking in was around the DeFi time. DeFi was a very hot topic. NFTs, that there was also lots of interest in that session. And then we carried on with blockchain security, just talking about, raising a bit the alarm bells on security, just make people think or give them something on the way when they're developing stuff to take security a bit more serious. And then we carried on with all the decentralized aspects like decentralized identities and also decentralized storage. So here we are, Metaverse it is today, and blockchain technology. How does that fit in? The crypto community, typically we used to have our meetings in Zurich. It's unfortunately a bit different now with COVID, and obviously hope, like everyone else, that this is going to change. Normally we're in Zurich at DigiComp next to the train station where we're doing our sessions, but now we're running stuff mostly online these days. So, okay, let's dive into the topic. So what is the actual metaverse? Now, I've picked some information also on the web. So 3D virtual spaces linked to a virtual universe. Yes, a virtual universe. I'm just letting lots of people in at the same time. Not quite sure if anyone else can. So 3D virtual spaces linked to a virtual universe. I mean, this stuff has been going on actually quite longer than I think the word metaverse exists. There have been all sorts of different spaces, shapes and forms. I had a discussion with Alex, one of our community. My age is probably more Tron. So Tron, that's very early days, but again, that's we discussed that this morning. It was more about a player, a person being absorbed. Hold on, I think I'm just gonna have to mute a few people. It would be great if you guys could mute yourself for now. It would just make things a little bit easier. Perfect. So I just muted. So yeah, 3D virtual spaces. I'm sure you heard of quite a few platforms out there, like Roblox, etc. Let's go a step back. We're not talking blockchain yet. If you're looking at Avatar, for example, where you can, or Ready Player One is also a classic example where people can actually jump into the metaverse, escape from the real world. With an avatar where you can build your avatar and you can run around in a 3D virtual space. You can have meetings in a 3D virtual space. We're going to look at examples. You're also going to see us actually running around, which is also going to be a lot of fun. And so avatars are essentially nothing else than 3D representations of players. I'm sure we're all familiar with that stuff. It's been going on for quite a long time now. Then users can actually work, socialize, create, and learn in one place. So what does that mean? Well, I can actually run a meeting in the metaverse if I wanted to. There are also avatars which you can use in Teams. We're going to come to a few a few information on that. We're going to talk about some of that stuff. You can actually socialize, you can meet friends, you can chat, so voice over IP, you can, discuss things, run around in the virtual world, go to a bar, go to the cinema. That's what we did the other day. We went to cinema and watched a movie in the Metaverse. So I'll show you a few examples afterwards, and you can also learn in one place. Now with the remote working aspects, nowadays lots of people are actually working remotely. Lots of companies are shifting, also realizing, well, actually, some of our workers are more efficient, can be more productive. They don't have to sit for 3-4 hours in the car or in the train. They can actually work directly from home, and we can also save on office space and infrastructure costs on rental cost in this sense. So the trend, I think, is going to go also more virtual, remote workforce. Again, it doesn't work for everyone, otherwise it'll be very difficult in this world. So we have then many other examples which we're looking at. The differences, maybe you have heard of VR and AR. So what do those acronyms actually mean? So virtual reality, again, it's your representation as an avatar in a full virtual environment. That can be also with a VR headset, so virtual reality headset, where you can actually wear something like Oculus. Rift 2, I think, is the latest and greatest. There are quite a few other ones. And then there's augmented reality. So there have been a few examples. So examples of virtual reality is Roblox. So for example, my daughter is playing Roblox, and she's also really good at it. And I also created a Roblox account and was playing around with it, and yeah, quite like it. So you can dive into different games. There's also a blockchain use case there. I have seen one game which is running on Polygon, a layer 2 solution on Ethereum. So then there is Decentraland and Second Life, probably Second Life being one of the first ones. We come to that. So these are kind of some examples where you can go and grill a virtual sausage with your, I'm not quite sure what this one is, if it's a T2 or a T3, but maybe some of you know. So you can actually drive around and buy items, buy gear, and travel around and do things. Some other examples which we have been exposed to, or I have been exposed to, also kids finding this fantastic. That's the augmented reality, so partial reality, where you can look for items. So on your phone, you would install Pokemon Go, and you could go and walk around the area. And I think it's more like geolocation dependent, geo-tracking dependent, and you can walk around and collect stuff. And it'll tell you also how well you did. There were other games which try to motivate you to do your mileage today. So that's a bit of the difference. One end is full virtual reality. The other one is a bit of an augmentation. It's a combination between reality and virtual reality, and an actual device which involves that scenario where you would use a mobile phone. So in the early days, Second Life has been around for quite a while. The graphics, I'm not going to say they're dated. I leave that open to perception and opinions. Again, virtual experiences, and you can join communities, and you can also, there's some role play stuff going on in there. You can join music clubs. To be honest, everything what's listed here, I can find that also in Decentraland and Sandbox and other platforms, which we'll be discussing and looking at. So again, it depends on the use case. We have also seen some hype from Facebook or Zuckerberg and Microsoft and a few other ones. So, but again, they'll have all different types of use cases. I mean, virtual cinemas, yeah, I suppose it can be fun with the avatar walking into a cinema and watching a movie with your mates. That's why some places like Korea have invested a substantial amount of money in the billions replicating South Korea, or I believe Seoul, digitally or in the metaverse, because they also saw advantages during Corona times when it comes down to socializing or, you know, doing certain things. I couldn't imagine to sit for 3 hours in the metaverse in my car, stuck in traffic jam, but maybe that'll be also a feature that you can actually get stuck somewhere on a motorway in the car for many hours and, you know, just talk on a virtual mobile phone in the metaverse, who knows. Then marketplaces. In Second Life, you also had the concept of marketplace, or still have the concept of marketplace, where you can buy lots of stuff, virtual fashion, like wearables, which we come to, home decoration, maybe change tapestry or tiles. It could be anything. And you can also create and monetize stuff and turn it into real profits in a digital economy, in a virtual economy. So metaverse examples, we have probably all seen, if you go on YouTube and you type in metaverse, the first thing which pops up, it's Zuckerberg talking about his perception, or his, essentially his perception of the metaverse, and also the Facebook side of things. And you can actually see how he picks a dress to go somewhere into a meeting. I'll probably pick a different dress, but and then join a meeting. That's quite cool. I actually quite like the video, I have to say. Although when it comes down to data privacy, that's quite a different topic. I prefer to sell my own data than Facebook, but that's just my own humble opinion. Now in the metaverse, this is quite a cool example. Also, if you go back to Second Life, it was also possible joining virtual meetings. And there is also quite a lot of other stuff going on. And here we also, I have a screenshot of Roblox. If you haven't looked at Roblox yet, might be also time looking at it. And then the Microsoft perspective. I'm sure there are other solutions out there. Mesh for Teams. So you could actually join a meeting in Teams with your avatar, collaborate, and you could also use the actual Mesh app for HoloLens. So if you have a HoloLens as such, and there's also Altspace for VR. So this is more the business side of things, where you could hold meetings. Quite like the aspect as well, if you're dispersed, so spread all over the planet. It can be of advantage if you can join meetings like that, if that's actually possible. I can see the challenges sometimes with my camera, with the whiteboard on the wall, and trying to share some information, or just have some visual on the drawings. So that could be probably a bit easier. Not sure how friendly it is. If I could draw on my screen with a pen, then maybe, why not? So I'm just going to have a sip of water. But that might be something, all depending what use case you're looking for, what interests you have, that might be something to dive into. So metaverse and blockchain. Metaverse and blockchain, so there are different types of benefits. Here are just a few. I'm just going to move myself a bit up here. Digital proof of ownership, so you can actually prove ownership of digital goods and assets via crypto wallet, essentially an entry on the blockchain, which can actually prove immutably that you are the owner of a particular digital asset, digital collectible, which you might have bought on OpenSea, which is one of the marketplaces. There are many other marketplaces out there, but OpenSea is probably the largest one. You can also go on Super Rare, on Rarible. I mean, it's just endless. If you just type in Google or DuckDuckGo NFT marketplaces, you'll find lots of stuff going on out there. So also transfer of value. You can pay pretty much anyone with crypto. Now, most of the of the marketplaces and all the activity which is happening on Ethereum, on the Ethereum-based ecosystem. Today, Ethereum is hosting the NFT world mostly. There are obviously other blockchains. I'm also involved in a project based on Algorand. There are many other ones there on Solana and many other ones. So these are more like the layer one scenarios, depending what the use case behind is. But mostly NFTs and the DeFi ecosystem runs on Ethereum today on layer two solutions. Then I'm just going to carry on clicking governance. So now that's also the perception of Binance. Binance actually states that blockchain is essentially allowing people to take decisions in a fair and equal way through a consensus and voting mechanism. So consensus and voting, yes, governance. So you have governance tokens under some circumstances, which will allow you to vote in certain scenarios. So you can also look up governance tokens if you're interested to know a bit more about that stuff. And obviously also a consensus, which is also going via a mechanism in blockchain environments. So you can also read up on that stuff a bit in more detail if you're interested. Accessibility, anyone can create pretty much anything online, but in this case, a crypto wallet, it can be created reasonably quick. It depends how quick you can actually write down your recovery key. But MetaMask is a good example. You can, this is just a standard browser extension, a browser-based wallet. There are all sorts of different types of wallets, but that'll be covered in another session at some point. So interoperability, also interesting here. There are lots of bridging solutions out there which build bridges between various ecosystems, one in the metaverse and one also in the blockchain environment. There are solutions like Polkadot and many other ones out there which you can use as bridge solutions. And there are also solutions like bridges between crypto money and fiat, which is how we know it today, cash, credit cards, anything like that. So conversion platforms or conversion bridges in this sense. In the metaverse, there are quite some famous ones out there or are being in process to be built. That's GuildFi, Axie Infinity is on there, and a few other metaverse platform solutions, which we'll be looking at as well. We're coming straight to Axie Infinity. Axie Infinity, honestly, I just looked at it the last couple of days. I have lots of friends who have been in there for quite a while. It's inspired by Pokemon and Tamagotchi. We also see the characters in there. They kind of look like cats, kitties. We might have heard also of early days of CryptoKitties, which were responsible for quite a lot of traffic on the Ethereum platform. It's quite a while ago. NFT games allow essentially to earn crypto, earn currencies, and you can actually breed, raise, battle, and trade those axes. Yeah, we actually see one of those axes laid an egg, and and then you can actually raise those eggs. That just takes me back to I haven't been that much in Pokemon to a certain extent, yes, but more Tamagotchi. I remember we used to have those key rings where you had to feed the Tamagotchi and so on. So that goes quite way back, but it was a lot of fun. So yeah, and axes can be traded in a marketplace, so you can actually buy and sell axes. And if you want to play, you also need to buy axes token and actually pay with axes tokens. So quite interesting if you like stuff like that. I find it quite cool, like it. Then there are other scenarios. There's Sandbox. Sandbox is also interesting. You can actually buy land, build land, buy land, depending how much money you're prepared to spend. There have been some larger transactions going on. I have seen a piece of land being sold for $2.1 million, which is quite excessive. Again, it depends what is the business case. Maybe it's not that excessive after all, depending what you want to build on. If you want to build a casino and you have a business plan behind it, why not? Then you can build a house. You can actually expand on this whole topic, build a house, invite friends, and have your swimming pools, have your barbecues, have your items, and set everything up. And in the end of the day, you can have you can throw a massive party and meet up with friends from all around the world, which I find quite a nice aspect. Yeah, of course, it's quite different because you might be sitting at your desk and eating something, drinking something, having a beer at your desk and drink a virtual beer together, but you can get together. So it's not entirely wrong. So quite like also the aspect and the concept. You can also trade NFTs. So you can create unlimited NFTs if you're familiar with Blender. There are other platforms out there where you can actually create characters. You can trade wearables, which we will also be looking at. And the token in the sandbox ecosystem is the sand token. So yeah, that's a bit like Blender. I'm not quite sure if it's Blender. I can't actually tell. But yeah, you can build your wearables. You can, for example, build T-shirts with the logo on there. You can build a hat. You can create some shades. There's lots of things which you can create and just then offer them in a marketplace like OpenSea. That they can actually be admitted in the game. It still has to go via a board of approvers, and they'll approve or reject your item which you would like to sell as a wearable. I went a bit through the experience in Decentraland, which I will be talking about as well. So also here in Decentraland, you can buy and sell land. So there's still some land available. There's some up for grabs for different types of prices. You can also build houses here and have fun with your avatars. You can meet also your friends in here. You can chat. There's also voice over IP. It worked. Maybe we did something wrong or we used the wrong browser. I'm not quite sure. In my instance, I used the Brave browser. In our demo in a minute, we will also be using the Brave browser. You can just walk around, jump from one place to another. Yeah, it's quite fun. There are games, quests which you can join. You can then build wearables, as I mentioned. You can build a hat, shades, T-shirts. I was looking into it, but I found it rather expensive because it, the decentralized currency, the token is the mana token. And yeah, you have to own quite a lot of mana. That translates in about $1,500 US or Swiss francs in this case, which I thought is quite a lot of money. And you have no guarantee that the wearable will be accepted, and you might just lose some money here. So you can then go into Blender and build something like that. You have some nice instructions on YouTube. There's some great tutorials on that end. You can then sell those wearables and trade them on a marketplace. So in this instance, you have my avatar, which is in Decentraland looking at some stuff. So on that screen, I can actually read on the ground that I could, for example, buy land. In other instances, I have seen NFTs. So you can contact people on Discord. So there are many use cases. We will also walk in a minute to the OpenSea gallery in Decentraland. We'll walk around with Alex, who is also a mate of mine from the community, and just jump around. Here we have some screenshots from OpenSea, which actually shows you the wearables which you can buy. And you pay with crypto, you buy stuff with crypto. And you connect your wallet. You'll have a wallet which you have to connect for that. You have to actually pre-charge that wallet with crypto. and then you can actually buy assets, and a proof will be written on the blockchain, tied to your public key in simple terms, and you can actually, you're the legal owner. Legal owner is also always a topic, subject to where you actually live. Is it accepted? In Switzerland, we have the Blockchain Act. So I've spoken to a friend of mine in Zug, and he told me also that in court it could stand up if you would have tokenized, for example, an asset, and it would come to a court case, which I found also interesting, but that might not be applicable anywhere. So you can't generalize that topic. So possible risks, there are a few risks out there. Again, that's based on perceptions. Scams, there can be scams. On the other end, also, you know, if you walk around in the Decentraland, and you can also select with whom you want to chat or who can chat to you via voice over IP, so via the game, in-game discussions, in-game chats. You can actually block voice. You can just let friends talking to you. You can add friends, by the way, by having their public key or the name of their avatar. We figured that it works much better with the public key. So you add the public key, and then you can connect to your friend's avatar, and you can chat to him, and you can run around with him and do all the stuff you desire. So risk of losing touch to reality, you know, it depends. It's a question, what is reality? So I'm hearing many different opinions on that topic. Risk of losing touch to reality. Yeah, it's a big topic, and it's also something which we all have to think about. There's a new reality, there's the old reality. Things keep changing, perceptions become different. When I watched Ready Player One from Steven Spielberg, I was quite amazed that the story plays, it's really about a boy, as far as I remember, who lives in a shipping container, not exactly a wealthy environment, so rather a poorer environment. He jumps into that digital world, and I think then it's a quest about looking for a golden egg or something. I can't remember, to get something in return, but I found it quite amazing. So maybe it takes people away from reality. Sometimes it's a good thing to switch off, to chill out. But sometimes it's also trying to escape from certain situations. Some will also tell you the social environment aspect, that people are becoming antisocial. I tend to disagree. They could probably be becoming a bit more antisocial. We'll also have this discussion. There's a big trend with online schools these days, online universities. You know, I studied myself also online with different types of universities, and so you get exposed to the online collaboration, the being dispersed, and collaborate in a virtual team, in a digital team, which is different than sitting together in a classroom. So since COVID has also driven this and pushed this a bit, the entire unfortunate situation, global situation, there were some fortunate ones amongst us who had the opportunity to work remotely. Lots of companies went also in that mode. There was also lots of struggle, lots of security aspects as well to that topic. So some people claim, oh, well, you know, the metaverse is dangerous, people can become antisocial, and it can affect your kids. Well, kids can spend lots of time in the metaverse. You know, we can discuss, we can argue about it, but so can a kid spend lots of time on the PlayStation or, you know, on a game on an iPhone, and it's nothing to do with the metaverse. It depends, you know, it takes a lot of self-discipline, or another big word, but yeah, so well, look, in the end, we can have a discussion around that topic. opinions matter, opinions are interesting, love to exchange opinions, ideas. That's what the community is here for, to learn, to exchange opinions, to exchange ideas, and yeah, to discuss things about that. So now we're going to have our trip into the metaverse. So let's play Decentraland. So I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second. So I think, Alex, are you, I can see you, you're here. You probably will have to unmute yourself to join the session.
Hello.
Hi, Alex. So
You stopped my video.
Oh, did I?
No.
That's very, very naughty. Okay, let me just activate it. So I just asked you to start your video. Oh, here we go. Wonderful. So I think now I'm going to have to pin you at pin. Perfect. Wonderful. So yeah, great. I can see where you are. You're at the entrance of OpenSea. So I'm going to share also my screen. So great. Can you see my screen with Decentraland?
Yes, I can see it.
Wonderful.
Maybe
Okay.
the people have to rearrange the the view that they can see both together.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I think you can do that. So you have to basically pin us, you have to pin Alex, and you have to pin myself. So when you've done that, when you can do that, you can actually have the benefit of seeing both screens. So what do you think, Alex? Should we kick it off? Should we walk into the gallery?
Okay.
Let's go and have a look around. What's on the walls here in the OpenSea gallery? Okay, I mean, yeah, there are quite a lot of, let's go to Josie and let's look at some stuff. So I can actually look at some of those digital pieces of art. I can click on it and I can get some information. It's never been sold. It's exhibited for 85 ethers. So it's a real bargain. So yeah, you can actually view it on OpenSea if you want to buy it, and then you can actually buy it. Oh, that looks very Microsoft-like. Okay, it's disappeared. So yeah, great. So you can actually buy stuff in here. You can walk around. Shall we go upstairs and have a look what else is there? I think there's also OpenSea Drops, which is going to be coming soon. So we can actually walk around in here and look at things. There are more drawings. I'm just going to go here at the back. There's some funky ones. I can get closer to that and then I can have a look. And here I could pay 14 ethers. So we also have another bargain here where you can actually buy that piece of art. Again, you can actually view it on OpenSea and buy it in ethers. So again, I'm going to go and have a look for Alex. Are you still downstairs?
No, I'm upstairs. I looked around at the picture.
Maybe you have been okay. Unfortunately, I can't see you. You have disappeared. So maybe it's a feature because it has happened already. Okay, you're there. You know, when we met initially, we were standing in the same room and Alex occasionally just appeared. So maybe it's a bug in the software. So we can actually walk down here, look around. What do you think? Shall we go and have a drink?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So we could potentially now run around and just look for an entrance somewhere. It looks like I'm a bit unfortunate. I picked a slower character. Well, actually mine can run today. That's funny. And yours is walking. Not quite sure why. Yeah. So what you can do, if you want to jump from one world to another, you have a map view on top left. So you could actually, right now, we're in the OpenSea gallery. I could go to meet Alex in the jazz club. And you know, there's so much stuff you can go and visit, you can have a look at. There are lots of exhibitions, there are parties. Alex, should we have a look at the jazz club and jump in there? So let's see.
Yes, you can jump in and I will follow you with the follow friend.
Remind me. Perfect. Looks like Star Trek. And I'm getting beamed over. So it's right now it's loading the scenes, it's downloading images. So there's still local stuff happening, local rendering. If you look at your GPU, fortunate enough that my GPU is coping, but on another system, it just couldn't, and it took ages to actually render. So maybe I spoke too much and I took the mouth too full. So not quite sure. It takes quite a moment here, but that's really the idea. You can jump from one place to another. You can buy land, you can build your own stuff, and you can also have custom things. I mean, at the beginning of the game, you have to build your own avatar. So you pick your own hair color, you pick your skin tone, you pick pretty much anything. And if you have bought some stuff like a monster or anything, you then can become a monster and walk around as a monster if you want that. So I can feel that it's a little bit slower here. So, okay, that looks like the jazz club. So I could walk into the jazz club, see what happens. Well, maybe it's daytime and there's nothing happening. Or maybe people are not really interested in jazz anymore these days, not quite sure. There's also nothing on the screen. We went to a cinema and watched a movie together, although the movie was super ancient. It looked like 1940s, 1950s, like the first type of horror movies. So I'm going to walk over here. That looks like there is a bar here. And but there's no barman, so it'll be difficult to drink something. So yeah, that's a bit of our experience in here. So what I'll do, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we can actually, because Alex, it still looks like it's loading on your end. Maybe some other features which I can also show. You can actually, if you click on friends, or I can actually add friends, and I can remove friends. If I want to talk them in game, I can click on the microphone and allow the microphone if I wanted to do that right now, but I'm going to block it. And what I also mentioned in here, in the settings, you have general settings, the graphics where you can adjust the quality of graphics, and obviously audio where you can allow chat and allow voice chat, which is in beta in this case, but I could also turn off the music. I just turned it down because it was a little bit overkill. So that's that. I'm gonna shut down. I can feel the fan is coming on. So that was our demo session. I hope it gave you some insights and answered some of your questions. And yeah, happy to have a chat. So feel free to open your microphone and we can discuss the topic. Do you have any questions I might be able to answer or not?
Yeah, Lauren, I do have actually a lot of questions, but I will select one to start with. So first of all, seems like a trick question, this one. And let me say that I'm absolutely fascinated by all this world. So, and even in spite of that, these days, as I'm reading a lot about the metaverse and everything, and I was wondering to myself, so who is the target customer segment? So maybe if I was, for example, the average Swiss citizen, so let's say a 45-year-old man with 3 children living in the Bern Oberland, so why would I be interested in this? Or maybe I'm not the target customer at the moment.
Well, again, it depends. Yeah, the target customer, the target audience, yeah, that's an interesting one. But you know, for example, in one instance, I'm talking to a friend of mine who is an actual painter in the real world. So we were actually discussing on one topic to create a shirt with his digital artwork on. So that's when I started looking into it, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. Maybe I can sell some NFTs or some wearables if you want. And then once it's approved, you know, then I could start selling it. But it was quite complicated along the entry point, where you have no guarantee and you spend 1,500 Swiss francs without actually a guarantee that it will be approved to be able to sell it. I don't know, what's the incentive or the motivation for a painter? Well, additional revenue versus his physical painting. I give you an example of a friend of mine. She had a gallery in California. She shut down because due to COVID, well, no one really was walking in there. Maybe if she would have had a bit more interest in the whole digital aspect, she could have potentially sold or digitalized artwork via, you know, I don't know, take high quality photography, high quality photograph of paintings, or actually scan the paintings if you have a scanner of that size, which is a tough one, and then sell that stuff in form of non-fungible tokens, or essentially digital artwork with an NFT as a reference to it. So there would be additional revenue stream, because, you know, you can mint as many NFTs as you want. So of an actual physical painting, you could create 100, you could create 200, you could create 500. There's no real limit, but it might have an impact on price. Now, target customer, what shall I tell you? Maybe you want to run a business in there, maybe you want to have an exhibition in there, or you want to run events in there. You could make it exclusive events, just like in the real world. You could have a VIP club where people could join in there and meet up. I don't know. It's quite difficult, and I'd be interested to hear out of the community, what are people's use cases? What have you experienced? Maybe you have also some feedback. I can hear silence. People are not muted, so no, there are many use cases. Interesting enough, I also heard that an embassy created an embassy in the Metaverse. So why not? So citizens could, I'm not quite sure how that would work, if a citizen would pick up, or an avatar of a citizen would pick up a digital identity in there. Not quite sure how that would work, but maybe there's also some sort of KYC process in there. And also maybe a use case which could be interesting looking into is why South Korea is investing so much into that space. Maybe to make certain virtual facilities or services available. I mean, they're pumping in, I think it's like $3 billion. So that's quite a substantial amount of money. And they're miles ahead in Asia anyway, compared to us, who are a bit more conservative and sometimes are watching what happens first in other places. You know, they came up with CryptoKitties and all sorts of things. I mean, I spoke to the people at GuildFi, they come out of Thailand. It depends. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Still a lot of research required. Maybe we can expand on that in another topic and look into actual real use cases, why companies would invest in that space. I've seen a lot of stuff. Well, some other questions which I've also seen from your end, Stefano, which was the GPU stuff. Well, I think, you know, I'm using a Mac, an iMac. After all these years, I thought my old Mac and I need to part. The M1 chip is really good. I'm not working for Apple, but it does a good job. It hasn't even heated up really, comparing to my MacBook Pro running on an i7 processor and 32 gig RAM, which is 2.5 years old, which I almost found insulting. But I think it's also the GPU in it. So maybe the GPU is a bit better in here. So the graphical processing unit makes a big difference. I work for large companies which have worked with virtual graphical processing units where an actual large physical graphical card, a graphics card, will be split into logical parts, into virtual parts, which can bring advantages. If you work in a large company and maybe you have people, let's say you're in the automotive industry, you work at a car manufacturer, you're working in design, maybe you're working with rendering software or essentially AutoCAD or anything which is quite GPU intense, you could actually allocate certain users in the company to a part or give them more virtual graphical processing power versus other departments requiring less. Or you could use a driver essentially, which will expand and retract accordingly. It depends. There are different use cases. We have also seen a large shortage and very angry gamers. That was in the mining days because lots of mining has been GPU intensive. Again, it depends. What proofs are we talking? Are we talking the proof of work environments, proof of stake environments, proof of everything environments? There are lots of different proofs. Some blockchains are claiming they're almost carbon neutral. Some are not at all. It depends, you know. But yeah, generally speaking, that's that one. And I also have a question from Vanessa. If it's a private server room, why is it just two of you in this world? It's, you know, Vanessa, it's been, well, I wouldn't say too challenging to meet each other. I explained briefly the process. Went to Decentraland and Alex went to Decentraland. So we added our, we basically added the MetaMask browser wallet. So you have an actual browser wallet, which you can add. And then with a browser wallet, you can actually connect to the game and it will use to identify your public key of that wallet. And it will know, okay, it's that public key connecting. You can also join as a guest. So I'm not quite sure how it will work if you would try and connect to another friend as a guest. I haven't tried that. But you can connect to each other via private keys. So you can actually see your friends. And if you have their, private keys, what am I telling you? Public keys. So with your public key, never give a private key to anyone, not even your best friend. So your public key is to identify each other and add each other. It didn't really work very well for us just to do it by the name of the avatar. And no, you don't have to go into a private server room as such. You can connect like that. And then you can also restrict the audio with whom you will want to chat or with whom you can actually chat. That's hopefully it answered your question. I recommend to make an, to just make your own experience with Decentraland. I found it quite good. I cannot comment how intense, graphic intense or load intense it will be with Sandbox. I haven't tried Sandbox yet. I will. And I also haven't tried Axie because if you want to get into Axie Infinity, you have to have some Axie first. The Axie price is quite high. Happy for them. I think an Axie right now is just over $100. So for just for my presentation here, quite a lot. We already spent during our NFT workshop at the time where we tokenized some digital artwork of my daughter. We spent $60 for tokenizing on gas fees. For each item, we tokenized, I think it was 3 items at the time, and that was like $180. So that can be quite a lot for a young artist. Again, it depends on your use case, on your motivations and what you want to do.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I just want to say a few words. Thank you for your response. And just want to share, like, from my perspective of, like, why Korea is so advanced, it's that their gaming industry is already very advanced. So I think this is like a next step for them. Like League of Legends is really big in Korea. So just sharing my perspective and
wonderful.
Just to add on to what the previous question on use cases, I think I have another question, like just for discussion. What would be the clearest advantage of engaging in Metaverse versus just the internet, right? Like we can also meet on Zoom. It doesn't have to be Metaverse. For just sharing my opinion, I think the main bottleneck is also what we've been talking about. Like it's in the technology, is it the power of our current computers, and it's very laggy. The graphic is kind of slow. I think that's what it is for me. So I don't know what you guys think. So yeah, just asking, what do you guys think?
Well, I can maybe let someone answer of the community. Let's see if someone wants to talk about it. My opinions on Zoom, Teams, Google Chat, and so on. So Google Meetup. Okay, I'll kick it off then. Yeah, Zoom, to be honest, I think we all have been exposed to Zoom, if we'd like it or not. It's, you know, Zoom, Teams, Google. You can actually collaborate quite efficiently on those platforms. And if you're a global company, if you work for a global company, you can do that very well. So that's what I also asked myself initially with the Metaverse. Maybe I would like to turn up as a panda bear or something. I don't know, in meetings. I don't tend to turn up as a panda bear or in a panda bear costume. It'll be way too hot in a meeting. And in Zoom, it wouldn't make much sense. But yeah, maybe if you can, honestly, if I would have a pen, an Apple pen, and I could draw on my iMac, I'm not going to try that. I don't think my screen would like that. But if you have maybe on an iPad, you could draw on there and exchange things. I haven't actually tried that in Zoom. I'm sure it could work. I don't know. But in the Metaverse, you can actually do that. I have seen that there will be add-ons, or there are already add-ons where you can draw stuff, where you can exchange information, and maybe people do want to socialize in there. I have no idea. I found it funny. There's also someone on the web who has tried to be 24 hours in the Metaverse with a VR headset. I can't remember who it was. I think it was an actress. It's on YouTube. If you type in 24 hours Metaverse, intense. But yeah, it's a very good question, honestly. I still use Zoom. I haven't jumped in the Metaverse yet for meetings. The graphics are still not quite there where I would like to see them, like we're seeing in Ready Player One, where you see the graphics are absolutely smashing. But here we're still, but I think it will go there at some point, but we're still quite a few years away from that. Okay, it's gone very quiet.
Laura, maybe I'll go next.
Yes, okay, yes, please.
I mean, maybe for me, I'm still try to also understand a bit and try to understand even the terms. And let me just see if you agree with my understanding. So on the one hand, Metaverse, the way you describe it, is a 3D or perhaps even 2D world. I think actually it's actually 2D, right? So it's to some extent it's a multiplayer game as a broadly. Yeah. And then there is the blockchain. So a bit of the intersection of the two is the, let's say, the narrower metaverse, where, for example, decentralized. And the difference is that while you are in a 3D world or 2D world, you are logging in with your wallet. And that allows some interesting things, buying, exchanging, and getting something that you can use somewhere else, perhaps in a different tab, perhaps in a different 3D world. And then there is the blockchain that has nothing to do with it, which is, for example, would be the DeFi, right? I guess, or the decentralized finance, right? So it's the blockchain, it's some sort of a metaverse, like a 3D world, and there is a bit of an intersection of the two. And of course, there is some other blockchain, which has nothing to do with this. And there is some other metaverse, which is, I guess, a 3D game. Is this how you think of it, or is there a better way for me to understand it?
Yeah, no, there's there's a bit of a difference there. Now why would you have a wallet, and why would you have the actual blockchain? So essentially the wallet, you essentially, with that wallet, you have to imagine you have an address, or let's call it a public key, okay? And with that public key, the game or the game owners, they can identify what assets do you own. So let's say I bought some sunglasses somewhere on OpenSea. I'm being taken onto OpenSea, which is an actual marketplace. So I can go on there and say, oh, cool, I would like to buy some, I don't know, like a purple wig and some shades. I'm going to a 70s party in the Metaverse. I want to go and buy that stuff on OpenSea. So I can actually go and buy that stuff there in cryptocurrencies, and those cryptocurrencies can be in my wallet. So I actually have money in that wallet, digital money, tokens. I can buy stuff. What happens when I buy that stuff? The information, I just keep it in simple terms, is written of that NFT, of that asset, of this thing which you're buying. That information is written to the blockchain, and this then referenced back to your public key. So the game owners will know what belongs to that wallet, what belongs to that public key, and it will be actually visible in your assets, typically. Okay. So that's where the blockchain kicks in. The blockchain stands also for immutability. It stands for many things, optimizing the transaction life cycle, the transaction workflow, transparency. You can actually see what's actually happening. Just to let you know, there's also central banks in the world. Right now, the banks are also looking into decentralized currencies. So that will be also, but again, that's on a wholesale banking space. So it's not just, you mentioned DeFi, decentralized finance is just one big use case in the blockchain ecosystem. And then you have the NFT. I mean, these are the two big names which people are talking about. If you're looking at breaches, at security breaches, you're probably talking DeFi. There we have the absolute winner of the blockchain use case, but that just happens when you publish decentralized applications without actually testing them properly, and then they get breached, or there's a rug pull. There are lots of scams out there as well, where people who might not be experienced enough and just they think, okay, I want to enter the ecosystem. They place some money somewhere, and they take some loans in a liquidity pool in the DeFi ecosystem, and bang, the money's gone. And or a single developer has access to the actual assets in a pool. So but that's a different topic for DeFi sessions. It's a crazy world. So look, why is a blockchain important in this whole thing? We're talking immutability. So just think of it, immutability. Information is being written to the blockchain. When you buy something tied to a particular wallet in the game, where you have an actual key, just think of it like a home address, or generally an address where people will know what belongs to this actual address. But to access what's sitting in that address, it's like your house key. For that, you use your private key. So that's to like entry property. It's like a bank account, really. That's nothing else. So, and that's why it's also important to consider that a wallet, a browser extension or a browser-based wallet, it's also securely developed. But MetaMask, they're doing a good job. So I hope I managed to answer some sort of, I derived, and it's such a big thing, and it's super exciting. It's an exciting space with many new use cases popping up, lots of interesting ones, Metaverse being one of them. And also lots of universities, I can tell you, are investing lots of money and resources in that space. Some have even claimed and said that it will be the next big thing after Bitcoin, from a hype cycle perspective. And we will see it in many ways. I'm just curious, like everyone else, to see where we're going to be in a couple of years, in 5 years, in 10 years. One of the next big things are the regulatory frameworks, because right now it's a bit like the Wild West. Not everywhere. There are some regulations in Europe. You have the MiCA framework, which is going to push through, which will want to regulate crypto a bit more, a bit tighter. and just put a basic framework in place, because lots of traditional investors are starting to place money into the crypto space, which obviously interests also our classic tax office, our regulators. So they want to also know where money is going. And also the US government has also assured, I'm not quite sure if it was the Fed, I can't remember, or the SEC, which placed a statement and said that they want to ensure that there's a bit more security in that space and a bit tighter regulations, because they're also worried if traditional investors are losing money, there's also some tax revenue which goes down the drain. So yeah. Great. So any more questions? Otherwise,
Nope.
Thanks, Alex. So I think we're going to be wrapping up. It's 8:03. Again, thanks for your participation, your interest, some interesting questions which came up. We're still going to figure out what we're going to be talking about in January. There are other interesting topics on the table, like central bank digital currencies and many, many other topics. So, but for today it was Metaverse. I hope we managed to provide some insights and highlight some or answer some of your questions. And yeah, thanks again for your participation. It was awesome having you in the session, and wishing you wonderful holidays. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.